All right, everybody, welcome to the Mortgage Coach Friday Mastermind. Every Friday, 9 o'clock Pacific. You have Mortgage Coach here. Today, we have like the entire leadership team. We've got Todd Bookspan. What's up, Todd?
Hey, not a whole lot. It's a beautiful Friday. It's going to be 104 degrees here in Phoenix, and I'm looking forward to getting to San Diego to Sales Mastery to see a bunch of you in a couple of weeks, and then I may or may not be hanging out with Dave in Portland the following week. So I'm excited for life coming up.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you a couple times in person. And we got Jen DuPlessis. Jen, you've been on the road speaking the past couple of weeks. Good to have you.
I know. Thank you. Yeah, I'm back, and I apologize for my voice. It's a little used, but yeah. I'm so excited to be back, and I'm so sorry that I missed last week's 100th, episode. It was so exciting, and I just can't wait to share what we're doing, and I'm excited for today's call. I miss y'all.
Yeah, well, it's good to have you. And we got Michelle Town. We got the whole crew. What's up, Michelle?
Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. Super excited to be here. Had a great, incredible refreshing of the brain with my own personal coaching retreat last week. So have lots of things to share, new mantras. Just came back, re-energized, ready to hit first quarter of next year with a bang.
Love that. So guys, today's call is going to be very discussion topic driven. If you do have questions that you want us to cover, post those either in Facebook or post those in Zoom. And if you do get a takeaway or there's a quote you hear, please share that. Share that with a way that's social. I am going to start with sharing my screen and just sharing a few things that are new in the community that I want to make sure everybody is aware of. I want to start with just reminding folks that the 100th, Friday Mastermind was last week. Check it out. Todd was awesome. Todd Bookspan kicked it off with just combination of reminiscing around what we've accomplished over the past 2 years. I did a debrief on digital mortgage for about 15 minutes. And then we had the one and only Todd Duncan close it out and talk a little bit about sales mastery, just talk about what you need to do to be relevant in today's market. So do recommend checking that out. I do want to shine a light on a few new things in Mortgage Coach land. First and foremost is this new mortgage strategies playlist. So it's just super clear, not just to me, but to just about every leader in the industry, that loan officers need to be coach and leaders, and advisors to borrowers. They need to, stop playing checker and just quoting rates and fees and play chess, present strategic solutions, present mortgage strategies. So I am interviewing top producers in our community where we just break down specific strategies. And so I want to make sure everybody is aware of these interviews that I'm doing. Also, I did a post. If you look at our Facebook group, I put a link to this strategy here. And I also asked a question, what are the most common strategies you use Mortgage Coach for? Because I'm trying to create a library of what are all the interviews I need to do, what are all the strategies I need to cover, so that there's just this comprehensive place that if you're a loan officer that wants to become an advisor, watch these strategies. If you're a manager that wants to train your team, watch these strategies. So if you could participate in this group, Todd, anything you want to add to that or anything you want to say around what we're doing here?
No, I think it's super relevant, and I think it's great. I think before we get too far in, because I didn't mention Sales Mastery, we should talk about, we're having our meetup there Wednesday, 4 o'clock. Mortgage Coach Win by Noon and the Mortgage Coach Productivity Mastermind group. So anyone who's going to be out there, make sure that you are acknowledging that we've got it on live somewhere. Dave's got it posted. That's where he's going. So we'd love to see you guys out there. It would be fun. We did it last year. It was a blast, and we're going at it. We're going at it again. And it's fun. To me, it's a blast to have Jen and Michelle here. So I'm going to try to talk less and just ask questions so that they can have their brilliance shine through.
Yeah, I love it. So by the way, I'm showing on the screen where you can sign up for that. Posting on our Facebook page when we get there. But If you want to know where it's at, what time it's at, there is, you know, an event on our Facebook page. Hope to connect with you there. And like I said, Todd and I will buy the first round at a champagne toast, and everybody else can, you know, take care of it themselves. Jen or Michelle, anything you want to add about either sales mastery or the mortgage strategies? Go ahead, Michelle. Michelle, you're muted, by the way. She's a little rusty on how to use it. She's saying, oh, I'll be here in a minute.
Ranch. So, you know, I saw that cool.
Okay.
I unmuted you, Michelle.
First of all, that's so great. I'm going to actually, I have a friend of mine from my group that is actually speaking at Sales Mastery, so I will be there. So I will look forward to seeing Todd, seeing you really in person. Dave, I think we've met once, but now kind of having the fun stuff. So that would be great. But yeah, super excited. I mean, a lot of this last 30 days for me has been all about, you know, re-energizing, finding one of the things that I thought was pretty profound from my group was we had a gentleman come in and speak, and he said, why don't you ask a different question to get the answer you want? And if you stop and think about that, that's, I mean, when we start getting a lot of resistance from our clients about interest rates rising and stuff like that, we need to figure a way to ask a different question because we need to get them thinking in a different way so that we can get them back on track. So that was kind of my profoundness. And then my next thing was, this is my new mantra, and I laugh at it. We had a spiritual person come in, and he was incredible. And he was like pretty accurate and didn't know any of us. And he said, when you're in, he says, my mantra is, I'm in a hurry, take my time. And I started laughing at that because we tend to do that a lot when we're speaking to clients. We're trying to get to the finish line so we can get into our next call, and we forget that we're rushing our clients through. So if we just say that mantra, I'm in a hurry, take your time, it makes you pause. It actually makes me smile. It makes me pause for a second and actually take the time to listen to what the client is saying and actually answer their questions and trying to give my own answers to the wrong question.
Love it. Makes total sense. Jen, anything you want to add?
Yeah, so that was great, Michelle. We call it slow down to speed up. Same thing, right? Slow down to speed up, go a little faster later. You know, it's hard work in the beginning. You know, Les Brown, I've said before, Les Brown's quote is, you know, if you do what is easy, your life will be hard. If you do what's hard, your life will be easy. So we have to make sure that we're doing that. As far as, you know, a TCA strategy, some of the strategies, two of my favorite are, I'd say my number one favorite is the optimal use of funds. I love showing clients about the optimal use of funds. And, you know, and I think that really it's super powerful for me because I'm able to really hop into being a planner and a coach, right? So that I can divert the funds into paying off non-preferred debt if that's the case, or, you know, help them with their college education or retirement or any other goal that they have. So I want to be able to loosen up funds and not drop it into the mortgage if at all possible, if it works out, you know, and that includes a combination of, you know, maybe putting less down and then buying down the rate, maybe not just the 0.5 point or 1 point, but maybe 1.5 or 2 points, because the return is just so much better than putting down an extra 200,000, right? So that's probably one of my favorites. The other one is, and as rates start rising, is showing, and it was funny, I was coaching one of my clients the other day, and he said he's never done an adjustable rate mortgage. And I just was like, gosh, I guess that's true. There's probably people that haven't. But, you know, getting in the business with rates for 18.5%, I've certainly done my share of ARMs and certainly a lot of neg-am ARMs because I worked for World Savings at the time. But I love the strategy of pay the fixed rate. If you like fixed so much, go ahead and pay the fixed rate, but pay it against an ARM and watch the acceleration of your loan. So, and that again is a strategy.
Love those.
That is a strategy. When I talk to my clients, we talk about entrance, holding, and exit strategies. So that's a holding strategy in the event that they're wanting to exit, you know, sooner than the average client, you know, sooner. So it's an acceleration strategy. So those are my two favorite strategies. Thought I'd share that with you, and then I'll send it back to you guys for whatever else you want to talk about.
So Jen, favor, if you don't mind after the call putting in your two strategies here.
Yep.
Because I really want this to be almost like a shopping list, guys. I'm getting ready to go to the grocery store, and I'm going to come back with some awesome mortgage strategies that help you guys deliver more value to families, that help you show up in a way that's unique and valuable. So take a few minutes. I'm not going to ask you to multitask right now and do it, but please, before the day is out, go into this post where I say, what are the most common mortgage strategies you use Mortgage Coach to explain? And use your language. Like, I love Jen's headline, optimize purchase. So use your language. Tell me what you want. By the way, if you have a sample TCA that kind of explains that strategy, share it. I mean, I don't want to do anything. I want, at a minimum, I want to know what you guys want. At a maximum, I would love a link to a TCA. And heck, I would, if I had my whole Santa Claus dream list, it'd be like, you put it, you said, hey, this is a great strategy. Here's a TCA. And you actually recorded a video for the Mortgage Coach community. And that would be like, my dream for you guys to do that. And then, by the way, what are you going to all get in return? We're going to have this great library of the best strategies that the best loan officers in America are using to deliver obvious and tangible value. So I'm on a mission. I want to create this awesome playlist for you guys. And I just want to go through it real quick, and then I hand it back to you, Todd. The first one I did with Dan Keller. And Dan and I were actually doing a lead conversion playbook training. And afterwards, I'm like, Dan, we've got to do an interview and bring that strategy to life. I did one with Shane Kidwell. This guy was a full-time fireman just a few years ago. And in his second year in the business, did over 40 million in production. So, I mean, he's just, what an incredible success story. He uses this term, powerful conversations. And he teaches and coaches around this concept, powerful conversations. Awesome interview. My number 2 one. Dan Keller and I did another one. It's a move-up analysis. Rick Shear and I did one that came from the annual reviews that he does. Alex Varela, number 1 Latino loan officer in America, did purchase options. And actually, him and I are scheduling another one in a week or two where it's going to be in Spanish. So it's going to be in Spanish total cost analysis mortgage strategy. And then Jonathan McKinnis, top producer out of South Bend, Indiana, did an FHA versus conventional. He had a family that was like, should I do conventional? Should I do FHA? And by the way, he actually did 2 strategies, and it was awesome. So we've got 6. My goal is to have 12 by next week, this time for y'all. And with that said, I'll hand it back to you, Todd.
Dude, I love it. I think it's a great value add to the community. And look at the times on these things. They're all 19 minutes and 35 seconds or less. So it's not like you got to wade through an hour call to find really the power and the punch in these strategies. So that's huge right there. One of the things I want to remind you guys, it's sort of one of the things I'm been pushing down lately. It's not on my Santa Claus list. I didn't know you had a Santa Claus list, Dave. That's good.
I still believe in Santa Claus, right?
I do too, of course. I have no reason not to. However, one of the things that Jen said that I loved is she really talked about the fact that you can use points as a strategy to save money. And I still think most loan officers have in their head that borrowers don't want points because you yourself didn't get your last loan with points. And so if you're not using a TCA to show a buy down in today's market, that's why you're getting crushed on the rate shopping, because your clients are not looking at the cost first. They're looking at the rate first. And when they go on to all those other websites, it doesn't matter what other website it is, all the big brands out there are putting points on there, and really oftentimes now multiple points. And I think you've got to make sure you're putting that on there and make sure you're showing, you can show your no point option, but then show the options that have 1 point and more than 1 point, because I know that that's what it's going to take to be seen as competitive in today's market. And then if you're engaging in a high trust conversation like you're supposed to have, you're going to be able to then walk them through the pros and cons of each strategy. And if you love the no point strategy the best, great. You just heard Jen, who's super successful, talk about how she's actually getting clients to pay points because it makes the most financial sense on the strategies that she's teaching. So I think that's awesome, Dave. I think we got to keep ideas like that flowing. So hopefully we'll see 6 more videos on there from you guys that you're going to post up after we get off this call.
Yeah, and I want to share my screen for one more thing because you made a really good point. And go ahead and let me know you can confirm you can see my screen. Because in doing these interviews, I'm glad you brought it up, Todd. 2 things have been clear. One, that more and more loan officers are doing 2 points because the big banks are quite often, showing 2 points. So I think Shane Kidwell actually spoke to that in his interview. The other thing that I'm seeing, and Jay Crowell did it. I've got an interview that's going to be published in a little bit, but I did a lead conversion webinar for his company with him. And instead of calling them programs, like, hey, 30-year versus 5-year, he's calling them strategies. Strategy A, strategy B, strategy C. Which one do you want? And by the way, so
I love that.
So you're selling mortgage strategies, not just programs, which again I thought was super smart. Also, Shane Kidwell. The other thing, guys, I want to make sure you know is that every one of these, if you click down below, there's a link to the actual total cost analysis. So if you click on that link, you can see the actual TCA. And it was just coincidental. Shane Kidwell, he's not putting programs either. He's doing option 1, option 2, option 3. Now, I do think putting them as strategies is the move to make. But getting away from selling programs and products and invest deeply into selling hopes, dreams, and goals. And let me show you some strategies to achieve your hopes, dreams, and goals. That is where success is at. Not only will you enjoy your job more, but you'll make more money and you'll create more value for your clients. So this is a topic that I'm driving hard on. Again, remember everybody, best way you can help me is fill out the list, give me comments, let me know what strategies you want me to go out there and interview and create for you. And anybody else want to comment on this before we change the topic and talk about something else?
I do. So I love that strategy. I actually wrote it down in my little book here so that I would be able to make a couple of adjustments to mine. But one of the things that I'm finding too, and this is where, where we talk about going for that year-end push while we're still focusing on next year, is I have a lot of success lately in taking those loans that I did 2 years ago, where we did put them into the first and second combo on the adjustable second. And we're rolling them in, and I'm selling them, they're going from a 4.25 rate to 4.625 right now, but blended wise, it's a much better rate. TCA automatically blends that rate for you. But what I'm doing is I'm taking it to the next step. I show them, here's where you're at now. Here's what it looks like if we blend the rate. Here's what it's going to look like when you're in 8 more years when that when that second resets. And that's what's getting me the business right now. They're like, oh my gosh, because I'm like, listen, although I'm going to be selling you a little bit higher rate in 8 more years, if your situation hasn't changed, this is what's going to happen to your payment. And a lot of them like that. And listen, some of my buyers are, elderly and they don't want the risk of the arm anymore. I have some that are business developers that all they want is that arm and that interest only. So making sure that you know your client and know what their strategies are is so important. But that's been one of mine, and I'll be happy to share one of my recent TCAs on my the blended rates. So we can show you what that looks like. But we were able to get them into a 4.625 rate, and they're going to say they went up $33 a month in payment, but in 10 years, based on that reset option, they were saving almost $400 a month.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I'm pretty sure one of Rick Shear's TCAs was the same thing. It was a refinance, and he actually raised the interest rate on the client. It was either Rick Shear's, I can't remember who it was, but one of the most recent interviews that I did was exactly that type of a strategy. So I'm seeing that a lot. Remember, guys, and Michelle, now you've got a homework assignment. If you wouldn't mind, posting a comment with a strategy and share a TCA. And By the way, I'm going to get one of these interviews, hopefully with you next week, is with you walking through a mortgage strategy for everybody.
There you go. There you go. I think that's great. I want to point out too, if you're listening in here and you don't know how to manually calculate a blended rate, please make sure you learn how to do that, so that in the event that you're sitting with someone and don't have the ability to do a TCA really quickly, or don't have your computer, please make sure that you have the hard skills to do that. It's really, really important, because I think a lot of people don't understand how to do it. Most people will just take the first mortgage and the second mortgage and take an average, and that is not blended rate. Not. Okay? So I just wanted to say that. Yeah, I think that's a great strategy. Michelle, I'm writing that down for my husband to do all the work on.
Love it. Love it. So guys, I have a couple more topics that were on our Facebook group, but I want to throw it to the three of you. Does one of you three have a topic that you guys want to riff on for 15 minutes? Either
I do.
Oh, bring it, Jen.
Yeah, I do. I told Todd about it before you hopped on the call. So yeah, so this is something I've kind of been working on. I want to share with everybody. So hopefully you can take notes on it. I'm just getting my information because I'm still working on it. And by the way, if someone has a word for me for this, I like the whole community to help me with this. Right now it's called 8 Ways to Stop the Stall in Your Business.
Ooh, I like that.
And, but I don't like the word ways. I don't know why, but anyway, 8 something strategies. Maybe we can start using.
I was about to say strategies. I just learned that from my good buddy, Jay Crowell. So Jay's a smart guy. If he says strategies, maybe that's what you want to put in there.
Yeah, that's so funny. I have like 7,000 names crossed off. But so here's the deal. And this is, again, I'm really focusing on prepping for next year, right? I mean, we've been talking about that for a while, and I think we just need to go forward. So here we go. So here's number one. Number one is be uncomfortable. And, there's something about, getting out of your comfort zone. I can't stand that phrase, getting out of your comfort zone. It's very scary to people. So expand your comfort zone. Does that make more sense? Expand your comfort zone, because that's where there's so much room for growth. So it's not getting out of your comfort zone. It's pushing on your comfort zone and expanding your comfort zone so that you're more comfortable with more things all the time. So what are you doing in your life right now to make yourself truly uncomfortable? And if you don't have anything that you're making yourself uncomfortable about, then I would challenge you to start pushing on that, on your comfort zone. And so the other way to say it is, what are you under the influence of, right? What's holding you back? You're under the influence of fear, maybe under the influence of rejection. What are you under the influence of that's holding you back from expanding your comfort zone? So that's the first thing. Get uncomfortable, because that's where you're going to make more money. Okay. Do you want me to go through 8 of them, or do you want to chit chat about them?
Roll through them.
Okay. Number 2, are you in a holding pattern, right? So evaluate why you're in a holding pattern. Where are you stuck right now? Think about it. Evaluate it. Don't just say, I'm not getting enough leads. I don't have enough relationships with people. Where are you stuck? And evaluate that. What are you avoiding? What are you avoiding that is making you stuck as well? So I would challenge you to take some action, to email someone that you don't want to have that difficult conversation with a referral partner who you don't feel is, committed to your strategic partnership, right? They just want to have you close loans quickly for them, and they use and abuse you. So think about, or a difficult conversation with a family member or another relationship that you have, to get yourself unstalled, and seek out advisors to help you. I would just say get another advisor, but I'll talk about that in just a minute. So seek out advisors for help on it. I need to have a very difficult conversation. What should I do? Number 3, examine your circle. And this is not your circle of influence, but this is your circle. It's just relative to where you are now. What knowledge or support are you missing? You know, are you a perfect example is blended rate. What knowledge or support, you know, knowledge, if we head into, you know, people refinancing out of first and seconds because the balloon's happening on the second and rates are changing, what knowledge are you missing to be able to accommodate that and facilitate that in the next year or so? And what support are you missing to get that knowledge as well? You know, so I challenge you to reach out to one new advisor that you've not had in your circle before that would be able to help you with that knowledge or that support. So here's a really good example, Michelle, since you're on the screen here. So Michelle's sister, I realized your sister's on your team. She called me and said, hey, look, we're lacking some knowledge in Salesforce and we don't think we're using it to the full extent. Would you be willing to, you know, do a conference call with me and Michelle and our team and kind of help us see how you use Salesforce so that we could maybe enhance it better? So, you know, that's the first time that Michelle's reached out like that. And so maybe I'm a new advisor for her in an area where there's some knowledge or support that she needs. And if, you know, if Michelle's doing it, we should all be doing it, right? So, okay, number 4 is ask yourself, what doesn't feel good to me in a relationship, in life, in business? What is just like, this doesn't feel good to me. It's time to let it go. You know, either fix it or move on. You know, why am I tolerating it? If it doesn't feel good, why am I tolerating it? Why? And I've said this before, you know, I only work with people that complement, not complicate my practice. And I'm at a point where I can do that. But I think that if you're new, you should be able to do that right away. You know, make the really good decisions. You know, so if it doesn't feel good, ask yourself, why am I tolerating it? And then why am I allowing myself to tolerate it? Why am I doing that? Because it's holding me back. You know, every time it sucks the energy. You know, it's like the energy bus. There are vampires, right? What is sucking the energy out of me? And it's creating me to be stuck. And I'm just saying, you know what? You know, I'm satisfied with the relationship. I'm not going to do anything about it, or I'm satisfied with whatever. So why? You know, why am I allowing myself to tolerate it? All right, number 5, conduct a personal cores checkup. You know, this is something that Darren has us do. And if you've been through Insane Productivity, you know, we filled out that piece of paper that he had with all these different adjectives, and we circled a bunch of them, and then we went in for the 3 core principles, right? When was the last time you looked at it? And have your core principles changed? Because, I mean, while they're your core, I think they can change as you morph into something, you know, over time, whether you know, get married, get a divorce, pass over a certain, you know, time in your life, like me, you know, I'll be 55 in November. You know, so I think my core changes. We have grandkids, my core is changing. So I would say go back and look at what your cores are. And then, you know, and when you're addressing this, it's really what matters to me most. Does it matter to me that people compliment, not complicate? Does it matter to me that they're ethical? Does it matter to me that they're givers and not takers? And I'm seeking those type of people because I'm a giver. You know, and then ask. And so once you've come up with those 3 or 4, ask yourself, am I actually living them, or are they a dream? You know, so what can I do to change them so that I'm living what I actually believe in, right? And don't be fake. Don't, you know, be vulnerable. I mean, not vulnerable, be genuine, right? And then ask yourself this, what is the way that I'm living them, so that you can validate whether you are living them. You know, it's easy to say, yeah, I'm ethical, but how are you doing that, right? Making sure that you're not cutting corners here and there. Okay, so that's 5. Number 6, boundaries. Are they aligned with your goals? Are your boundaries aligned with your goals? So if family is one of your core goal or core values, then why are you on the phone all night long when you should be with your family? Why are you sacrificing a weekend with a family, you know, a game for your kids, or in my case, grandkids, to answer the phone call for someone who complicates, not complements your practice, right? So are you aligning your boundaries with your goals? And I guess, do you even have boundaries, right? Have you set boundaries? These are things, the line in the sand that I just won't do. You know, it's just not, it's counterintuitive. So if you haven't, make sure you set them. And then what do they mean to you? I mean, what's the benefit from the core value and the boundary that you're setting? Is, yeah, I may not get that one real estate agent, get business from them again, but you know what? It's more important that I show up at my kid's game than it is to serve a real estate agent who is not committed in a relationship as a strategic partner. They're a user and abuser, and they don't really want to spend time with me. And every time they do a deal, they make everybody on my team cry, right? All right, 7, indulgence. What are you doing for you? What are you doing for you in your life or your business to sort of sharpen your axe, you know, whether it's facials and massages, you know, going golfing, you maybe used to golf and now you don't golf. And but what are you doing for you? What's the indulgence that you're doing for you so that you can get the right checkup from the neck up and be in the right mindset? And the last one is, and I know you guys should all know what I'm going to say, a business plan. Do you have a business plan? So I would say after going through all of these, right, and sort of having this downtime, no phone calls. This is not a power hour either. This is sort of brainstorming and, you know, your morning affirmations or whatnot, is create a theme for the year. You know, I remember several years ago, one of the most powerful themes that I had was, I'm not going to be a yes woman. I'm going to, not that I'm going to be a no woman. I'm just not going to be a yes woman. I would say yes to everything. Yes, yes. And you get a yes and you get a yes, right? And the result was everyone got 10% of me. And I finally got to a point of saying, you know, I would love to do this, but if I did it, you would only get 10% of me, and I want to give you 100% of me. So come up with a theme for the year. You know, my theme is expanding my comfort zone, expanding my brand, transition, shift, change, right? Come up with a one-word sort of anthem for the year that's going to propel you and your practice, personal and professional growth, right? Aside from your goals and your marketing plan and all of those that are part of a business plan, this overriding theme will drive all of your activities. And that's why it's really important to identify the theme and go through these 8 steps so that your business plan is in a line and your marketing plan are in line with all the things that I just talked about. So it's very rough. It's something I've been working on for probably the last 3 or 4 weeks. You know, as I'm thinking, I'm going, okay, there's people are stuck. How can we get them unstuck? So I hope that you like that. And so I'm looking for your feedback. Any thoughts?
I love it. Well, you know, off the top of my head, I like the strategies. I like, you know, call it mindsets, call it ideas. Definitely don't like ways, but I love all your thinking. I love, you know, where you went with that. I'll kind of go around the room, and then I do have a question and topic I want to throw out there for folks. But Todd or Michelle, do either one of you have any feedback for Jen?
I do. First of all, Jen, thank you for helping us. We really, you know, my sister has joined our team, and she's very good at, you know, looking at some of the holes that I have in my, that's why I brought her in, is where are the holes and what I'm doing. And she, you know, she said, do you mind if I just start reaching out? And again, this is where you learn to let go and learn to just trust your team. And I said, call whoever you want. And she's actually reached out to 2 or 3 people on a couple of different topics. So I applaud her on that, for doing that. And thank you for helping us. I love your first one for sure about getting out of your fear. If anybody's been watching Darren Daily, the last 3 days has all been a series about improving ourselves. And today's was all about, you know, if you continue to tell yourself you can't do this, if you continue to tell yourself, I'm afraid of this, or you're never going to move forward. So he talks, if you haven't listened to it, I encourage you to listen to it today. He talks about, you know, walking through that fear and not identifying it as a fear anymore. Yesterday's was all about, I'm terrible at names, and I hear myself say it all the time. And it was one of the pointed things he brought out. He says, stop saying that. Say you're good at it. You know, don't even say you used to be bad at it. You just say, yeah, I'm good at doing names, so that you can create that positive affirmation inside yourself to say, this is something I'm going to work on, and I'm going to be better at it. So I'd love that. As you guys know, I'm I'm an open book, and I will share any idea I have, and I will ask for any help that I have. And that's one of the growth things in the last couple of years. I'm not afraid to ask for help anymore. And I would encourage anybody to look at Jen's third strategy, which I like that, which is, get outside and go ask somebody for help. Some of the most important people in my lives and some of the most incredible producers in this business, if you were to ask them what they did their first 5 years, I can guarantee you that every single one of them have said, I went and sat with somebody that I wanted to be like, and I sat with them for a week for free and helped them and listened to them. That is going to be an incredible growth strategy for this year. So Jen, thank you for sharing that with us.
You're welcome.
I loved it. I loved it all when you said up front what you were going to talk about. I thought it was great. And I think that, Michelle, you just nailed a couple things that I would throw out there that I'm hearing right now or seeing in the marketplace that I feel you guys should consider for number 8 for your theme for next year when you write your business plan. I like that idea of being uncomfortable. Get comfortable being uncomfortable, right? There's so many of you who are asking me. I've talked to 30 or 40 of you in the past week, and a lot of you are just scared of being uncomfortable. It's okay to be uncomfortable. You've got to, push that edge, and you've got to change that mindset. And so I think about what Jen said there. I think that was really important. And think about what Michelle just said about reaching out to people. It's funny. There's a guy named Michael Bischoff. He's in Chicago. And, you guys have all heard me say this story before. Literally on my first day in the mortgage business, I went to a seminar that Mortgage Originator magazine put on, which really dates me. This was 2001. And I bought Mortgage Coach, right? So that's how I'm here today, right? I'm literally my first day in the business. I'd never talked to a client or close a loan, and I spent money on a shiny object. But I met this guy, Michael Bischoff, there, and he said, oh, call me. And I'm assuming he just thought that I wouldn't call him. But at the time, he was a $60 million producer, which is like being a $300 million producer today. And I called him, and he gave me an hour of his time, and it was really impactful, and it really helped me solidify some of my strategy. So I would be okay with those things. So, think about that as you guys are going through stuff. I've talked to a lot of you this week, and really over the last 2 months as I took all those surveys that you guys were nice enough to fill out for me, and I reached out to a lot of you. And so keep that in mind. If someone's saying, hey, I'm willing to talk to you, call them up, reach out to them on Facebook, and be respectful and just say, hey, when would be a good time for us to connect? If someone throws an offer out there, a perfect example is my group coaching program that launches next week. I offered scholarships, and finally a couple brave people told me, well, I was just afraid to insult you, Todd. I didn't want to ask for it. I was too embarrassed to actually say I needed it. And I kind of laughed about I was embarrassed to say I needed it because a lot of these people were people who had filled out a survey that said they were doing less than 4 loans consistently. But I did appreciate the fact that they didn't want to insult me. But take advantage of people who make those offers. And I don't mean take advantage of a negative way, but if someone says, hey, I will help you, especially in this industry where Michelle's an open book, where Jen's sharing, where Dave is sharing, where I'm sharing, jump in. And that's why I'll bring it back to where we started with Sales Mastery. If you're going to be there, come up, introduce yourself. Let's see you there. So Dave, I see you pop on. What's going on your mind there, buddy?
Yeah, no, great topic. By the way, if anyone on this call wants to ask Jen or anyone on the call a question, post it in comments or questions in Zoom, or post it on Facebook in comments. I do want to cover a few things in our Facebook group because one of them has gone on for 2 weeks now. So just remind folks that we have a section called announcements where I can take a post and push it to the top. So I'm going to keep this question I have through today at the top. What are the most common strategies you use Mortgage Coach for? And I'll take it off after today. I did, because I wanted to feature this strategy list, I'm going to keep this a link just to the playlist on the top. I do want to make sure we have time. I think Bliss, I loved this question that she posted. I'm going to be redoing my, why Bliss video, and she asked for feedback. So everybody, let's give Bliss Saywer some feedback. And I'm really going to make that the last. We'll see how much time we have, but that will be the close of today's call. Ideas for Bliss. Why Bliss? I did showcase Shane Kidwell's mortgage strategy call, and I have it at the top just because all 6 of them are great. This was just my personal favorite because this term, powerful conversations, the way he framed it, the way he described it, And then while he didn't call them mortgage strategies, he called them mortgage options. I just thought like, wow, I mean, this is money. But I want to do this topic before we wrap up today's call, because I wanted to cover it last week. We just didn't have time. But David Wakefield, great job using our community the way you did. David says, hey, I'm getting ready to go do a presentation for a bunch of financial planners at a conference. Any suggestions? So I'm going to give my 2 minutes, and then I would love to go around the room, give Dave some feedback. And I did comment on this, so I'm going to repeat some of what I put in the comments. While I'm good with slides, I definitely don't think you want it to be, just a full-on PowerPoint or slides. But by the way, I'm showing a slide on my screen right now because I do think, and what I recommended in my comments is bring a sample of a fee worksheet. What do regular loan officers do, and have the paper. This is fee worksheet, transaction, rate quote. And by the way, depending on how many you're speaking to, maybe you show it on the slide, but you want to make this, you want everybody to walk out of the room that, average loan officers do this, and I do this. I deliver strategies that aligns with the financial planner's view. And maybe, it's like I did here, where it's in a PowerPoint and it's a video going through the strategy. At the end of the day, I've done a lot of training. I've done a lot of presenting to financial planners, and they love to get into numbers. They call them cases. They like to talk about cases where had a family, they wanted this, they wanted that, this was their pain, this was their opportunity, this is the case, and this is the solution I gave. They love that. So come into that financial planner meeting with, stories, strategies, and cases, and depending on how much time you have, in front of that group, at least one, probably no more than three. But that would be my recommendation. If you've got a financial planner meeting, make sure they understand that you deliver advice, not price. And then rather than describe what you do and how you do, and hey, I got this cool technology, go through a couple cases, and if you're one-on-one, you might do that on your mobile phone or your iPad. If you're presenting in front of a large group, you can either, there's a lot of ways of doing it, but that's my advice. Who else wants to give Dave some advice on how to show up?
I'll jump in. For me, I'm always going to go down the path then of take your case strategy that Dave's talking about and go annual mortgage review with it, right? So certainly I would be asking a question to them to get them involved, right? Hey, how many of you are doing quarterly reviews or semi-annually or annual reviews with your clients? And then pause for a second, let them raise their hand. Awesome. Hey, how many of you have heard of the annual mortgage review? And then you're going to find that most of them won't raise their hands. And then you could go through a case study of how you use the annual mortgage review either for one of your clients, and then you were able to get them referred to a financial advisor, or maybe how a financial advisor referred a client to you and you were able to help them with some strategies, and just think through a great way to present to them from their shoes, right? That's where you always step back and you say, okay, well, what's important to this advisor? Well, I want advice for my client. I want leverage for my client, and really help them understand that you can be a piece of leverage for them because you've got this cool tool. And then maybe talk to them through just what the process could look like. So again, depending on how you're doing your annual mortgage reviews, you could just say, gosh, you know what, as a financial advisor, you could just shoot me over a copy of their mortgage statement. I could prepare it for you with a video and send it over to you after you've given me 3 bullet points. I could come in the office. I could meet with you and your client. I could go through it live together. Just think through the ways that you can come in and add value to them. So that way you're not selling yourselves and saying, I want their mortgage. Hey, I want you to give me mortgage clients. You're giving them a solution to be more valuable to their most important asset, which is their client list. So that would be my additional case I'd add on there.
Love that, Todd. Anybody else have a quick idea, strategy?
I do.
Yeah. Go ahead, Michelle.
Sorry, just 3 things that I would do. So first, if you know who you're going to, like if you have the name of the group that you're going to, I'd probably if you could send out a survey monkey up front, that way you can come a little bit more prepared, ask them certain questions. But any presentation I do, big realtor, accounting, anything, I come with my own stuff, but the first thing out the door, I do very much what Todd does. I ask them, what are the obstacles you've had? What are your clients looking for so that I can address that? And if you can get that in the survey up front, then you could have a TCA prepared. But the other one I always ask is, tell me about your past experience with mortgage lenders and what's your hesitation? Because there's always going to be somebody who's had a bad experience. Find out, address it head on, and diffuse that and say, yeah, that's not how I work, or gosh, I'm sorry you had that experience. This is what I would do. So those would be the 3 questions I would ask.
Love, great advice. Jen.
Awesome. Yep. Okay. So the first thing is I've done tons of these because 33% of my practice is with financial planners. In fact, I prefer them over realtors. I've made that clear several times.
We know.
Yeah, I made that very clear. So the first thing is to, and I'm going to go into a whole bunch of different circles here, but I'm going to go fast. The first thing is making sure that they understand that you are an extension of their practice and that they are an extension of your practice. We're not in competition. We're not trying to quid pro quo, back and forth, and that you're looking for tons of deals. You are an extension of their practice. And so you're giving them another opportunity to put value on their clients. Okay. So that's number one. The second thing is how do you do that? So there's one way that you can do it and to help them is just ask, have them add to the questionnaire that they do, because they do. And we have, questionnaire. I've got a 5-page questionnaire. And I think I've shared it several times before, a mortgage planning questionnaire. But all they have to do is ask them who is managing their mortgage. And the answer is going to be Wells Fargo, SunTrust, right? Somebody. And the answer to that question, that's not who's managing their mortgage. That's who they make their payments to. So it's the same thing for us. If we're giving our assets to Bob and someone said, who's managing your mortgage? We would say Bob. We wouldn't say Merrill Lynch or A.J. Edwards. We would say Bob. So we as an industry need to get to the point where we are managing people's mortgages. And so, elevate yourself up into that category that says, and I love that, traditional loan officer bringing the estimate, right? I like using these words all the time. Unlike traditional loan officers who simply quote rates, sell products, never show up to closing, never to be heard from again, I work with my clients to provide great cash flow, tax benefits, and wealth building strategies through their mortgage, right? So constantly saying, unlike them, I'm doing this. Right? I'm managing the mortgage. So that's one. Sharing your success stories as well. So go back to some of your loans and say, this is how I used optimal use of funds. This is how someone who paid cash, I got them into a mortgage within 90 days so they can realize the tax benefits, right? So use those success stories. And if you don't have them, go around your office and ask people, what's your success story so that I can share it with people? That we free up cash for clients, that because we're strategists, we look for ways to free up cash flow for people. And what does that mean for them? This is all the benefits for them. What does that mean for them so that they have that cash flow so that the client can invest, and making sure that we're connecting them with them. And then the last part about this is one of the things that I've really learned that has been instrumental, and I hope you hear this, is when it comes time to refer to a financial planner, or when a financial planner refers to us, consumers think we cost money to talk. And so the best way to refer each other back and forth is while you're meeting a client, you get on the phone with a financial planner. And you say, hey, Bob, it's Jen. I'm sitting here with Susie and Tim, and the financial planner sits up and says, yeah, okay, great. I just want to introduce you. I want you to know that I'm going to be sending an invite or a professional introduction to both of you. But I wanted the two of you to connect really quickly. I think that this is going to be a great partnership, and I think that they're a great match for you, and this is what they're trying to do. It's not a consultation call. It's just a quick little phone call that connects them, because an email will fall on deaf ears across the board, and all this work will be for naught. Okay.
Love. Guys, we just knocked it out of the park for Mr. David Wakefield. Great job, David. Thank you for the post. I'm going to leave this up in the top of our feed through today. And then, David, I'm going to let it run free in the community and see what happens. But if anybody has any other ideas for David, please put them in comments. Really appreciate it. Great question, great answers. So guys, we got 10 minutes left. I want to crush it for Bliss. I want to let Todd Bookspan go first, but also Bliss, I promoted you to panelist. So I don't know if you're in a place where you can unmute or show your video, but do know that, I brought you on stage. If you are in a place where you can unmute yourself, I would love for you just to.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. So
Why
don't you do this? Why don't we take it off? We've got your post, but why don't you ask the question live here, and then we'll do round robin on feedback from the crew here.
So I actually listened to a promotion for BombBomb for a conference they're doing next May, and then kind of got in deeper because I've used BombBomb for a while. And so they were kind of highlighting people in the mortgage space that are using video. So watched a guy's why video. Sorry, I don't remember his name to give him a shout out, but just really been doing a lot of video on for marketing lately. And so now I want to expand and have something like a why Bliss video because I don't meet people in person till closing the majority of the time now. It's crazy, right? And so I want to have more connection with them and have them understand the big picture. And I was actually inspired because a lady called me. She was referred to me by her agent moving from Nebraska to Utah. And first thing she said when she picked up the phone is, "I love your website." I'm like, "Oh, thank you so much." She's like, "No, really, that's why I'm calling you. I, was given a couple of names. I like what you did with your website. I like what it says about you." And I thought, all right, if a very, I don't know what the word is, right? A website's just kind of a picture. It's not a moving part like a video would be, to create even more emotion and connection. Because really that's what we've got to do to compete with the call centers and the competition we have coming in. So that's why I want to do it. And I've set a deadline of November 1st. So we'll see how that goes.
Right on. Well, guys, we got 8 minutes. Todd, you go first. I'll go last. Jen, you go second. Michelle, let's crush it for Bliss.
All right, I'll keep it really short because, Bliss is one of my favorite people in the mortgage coach community. I think it's a series of whys. I think it's picking stories from some of your favorite people that you've helped and talk about why that's important to you, right? Why was it important when you helped a first-time home buyer? Why was it important when you helped a veteran? Why was it important when you helped someone who had bad credit and helped them get their credit back on track? And I think if you recorded a video on each one of those, then when someone shows up there, they're going to be able to pick the one that matches up to them. And then, of course, obviously the top one has to be your overall why, which I got one.
So I think, oh my goodness, that's brilliant, right? Because I actually not only envision having it on my website, I envision it, I'm sending it to them by email when I have that first conversation. So I know, are they a veteran? Are they, they have maybe some credit struggles, whatever. Brilliant. Thanks, Todd. You're my hero.
My goal is to be your hero, Bliss. Next.
Michelle, or Jen, I can't remember who I said next, but one of you. Whoever pops on video first goes. Michelle.
All right, I like to win. So Bliss, this last weekend, we had the incredible opportunity to have an hour one-on-one with Renee Rodriguez, and he told us how to build our storyboard. And I think you're gonna love that. It's incredible. Telling the story of why is going to make a difference of why people use you. And when you tell your story of why, you'll watch your face in the video change to this incredible, woohoo, this is fantastic. So have fun, do your whys, and do your storyboard.
Well, could you real quick give us, and I'll try to get Renee into an interview. I've interviewed Renee Rodriguez a number of times, by the way, guys. He's an incredible leader. He teaches you not only how to, communicate better, but to have more influence. Mm-hmm. Would you mind just, when you say create your storyboard, could you just give us 7 strategies? Or no, give us 3.
I'll give you 3. So, the first thing he did was make us draw a line on a board, put 3 of your core values. So let's say mine was believer. My belief is like one of my words. And then underneath it, there were 4 samples of explanations. So you told a story for each of those 4 reasons. And so when you went into a story, great example, client calls you and wants to do a VA, and you say, okay, my VA rates are 3.5%. Okay. I go in and say, oh my gosh, that's fantastic. My father's been a veteran. We were in the military for 26 years. Oh my gosh, we moved around. Did you and your family move around too? gosh, I would love to talk to you about rates. There's a couple more questions I have. Would you mind spending a little bit of time with me? Completely different outcome. Client bonds with you. Unless you have a really high D that just wants to, cut to the chase, it should be a really good, great bonding experience with your client and showing a little bit more value and empathy.
Love that. Love that. We've got 5 more minutes. I only need 1 to 2 minutes for me. Jen, do you have anything to share with Bliss on this question and topic?
Actually, I don't. I think that what you guys have talked about is really good. I think the big thing, Bliss, is just make sure that I know I am a fast talker, and I don't know if you are, but when it comes to this particular video, this needs to be slower. And I'm going to give you another hint on a few things. There's 4 different categories of of audience. So in order to attract all of them, so there's whales and dolphins and tilapia and sharks, right? All these different kinds. A shark wants you to talk loud and fast. So make sure that, there's a portion where you talk loud and fast and go, you see what I'm saying? I'm just using that as an example. Don't use that. Okay. Talk loud and fast. The dolphin wants you to talk fast and soft, right? And so that's going to be something, slow and soft slow and loud for the dolphin. Let's get this right. Slow and loud for the dolphin. They are fun people, right? The first one, the shark, is a D. They just want to know that you're a winner and that they can win with you. The dolphin is someone who wants to have fun. So make sure your personality comes out and make sure you have a lot of fun with that. But if anybody saw the movie Warriors a long time ago, he said, can you dig it? Right? So that's how you want to talk with someone else. With a tilapia, they're more the engineer type, or the S, the S type in disc profile. That's me, by the way. Slow and soft. So talk slow, hesitate, tell them a story. Okay. And the last one is they want to serve everybody. So make sure that you're feeding the world, right? They want to make sure that everybody's taken care of. They're not in it for themselves like the shark. This is the tuna, if you will. They want to make sure you're in it for everybody. So if there's a way that you can incorporate all of that in your speaking in a very short period of time, you will attract everybody. Okay?
Love it. So by the way, guys, did you notice that Jen said, "Oh, I don't have anything to add," and then she used my.
Oh, sorry.
Just making sure, if anybody else caught that, "Oh no, I'm good. I don't have anything to say."
Sorry.
Oh, I had no time for Dave. No, just kidding with you. But guys, so here's my feedback. I have two processes. When I'm going to create a video, I use the same process when I do interviews, and it's called think, feel, and do. And so I'm always very conscious, and often will take notes. I always kind of pull up Evernotes. I'm going to interview this person, think, feel, and do. And it's, what do I want people to think during the interview, after the interview? So connecting at a logical and intellectual level. What do I want people to feel? So take some notes. I want them to feel this. I want them to feel that. In this case, you want them to feel like, wow, I really like this person and I trust this person. So think, feel. And then this is the biggest miss I think people do when they make videos. They're not intentional. What do I want people to do? Do I want them to go click here? Do I want them to call me? Do I want them to refer? What do I want them to do? And I think we forget that a lot. So whatever your content is, I like Todd's, personas and stories. But when you create the video, think, feel, and do. Write that up before you do it. And then my last little piece of feedback, I learned this from Roberto Monaco, where how you pre-frame something, let's say you're going to tell a story, how you pre-frame it is more important than the story itself. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to do a story-based live video, that first, and I don't care whether it's a 1-minute video and it's that first 10 to 15 seconds, or it's a 3-minute video and you're going to spend 30 seconds to pre-frame, the pre-frame in many cases is more important than the story itself. So just be intentional about that. So guys, we are at the top of the hour. I want to respect everybody's time. Well, first of all, Todd, any last thoughts? I got to give Todd last thoughts if he has anything to say.
Well, just like Jen, I can always come up with something on the spot. So I don't think I'm ever at a lack for words. I would just say awesome call. I love the 8 strategies to stop the stall today. I love Bliss jumping in and asking us some questions. Someone asked for one of Jen's scripts to be repeated. I would just say go ahead and jump in and listen in on the next one. And I think we should
do a recording. We recorded it in YouTube. Go listen to it.
I think we need to do a reboot of the video thing. Again, let's do a video show upcoming. I think that would be a lot of fun. I connected with
Love
Tim
that.
Right in the files over to the left of Facebook are Tim Lamb's video suggestions. And I connected with him this week on what he's got going on. And I think we should start doing that again soon.
Right on, guys. So if you got value from today's call, give us a like, whether it's in Facebook, whether it's in YouTube. It helps spread the love. Like it, share it, watch it with your mortgage friends, refer this community to other people. Big thank you to everyone that asked a question or made a comment in our Facebook group. So thank you. That's what creates value for everybody. Have an awesome weekend, everybody. Go USA. Let's hope that we pull off the Ryder's Cup. I woke up this morning and we were up 3-1, and I checked my app even during the call, and it's not so pretty. But go USA. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Peace. See you guys next week.